I could use some help on pricing,
On
um,
pricing.
and like
Okay.
how to talk to the client about pricing without, I'm struggling with that.
Okay, so this is a potential client. They're not your client yet.
Yeah, so I have one that's an electrician that wants me to clean up books from January to current. They shared their books with me. They've never reconciled. They don't know how to do categories. And of course, I'm still learning with the QuickBooks Online side. So I'm going to have to go in and get them all on track. And then another guy is a food importer. He's an Italian that imports like tomatoes from Italy. He does seafood from overseas. And all he does on QuickBooks desktop is invoice. So he wants me to set him up.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure all that's going to be involved in him either, but those are the only two potentials I have so far.
Yeah. So pricing is, if you probably know that I like to flat rate my
Yeah.
pricing, not hourly. So let's just talk about flat rating. Um, when I am talking to a potential client and I ask them the kind of the questions that you've already asked, it sounds like where I get an idea of what kind of business they have, um, how big the size of the business, the amount of profit a business has and amount of revenue a business has doesn't really mean anything, um, as far as how much to charge them, in my opinion, because it could be an extremely profitable business and they have very few transactions, and it could be an extremely profitable business that has a ton of transactions. So profitability doesn't mean anything. The amount of revenue doesn't mean anything. It's the industry, and it's the amount of transactions. It really comes down to the transactions and the like how many transactions, and also the complexity of those transactions. Like how easy is it to get those transactions and get them into QuickBooks? Because sometimes it's really easy, and sometimes there's different, like getting transactions from a bank and getting them into QuickBooks, easy. Getting transactions from them that they paid for items out of their pocket for cash is more cumbersome than a bank account. There's different things that ways that they can spend money and receive money that are more cumbersome. So I get an idea of how many bank accounts and credit cards they have. Um, and then I ask them just on the phone, I say, how many, roughly, let's say they have two bank accounts. I say, roughly, how do you use both of those bank accounts a lot? And they may say, I use one all the time, one I don't really use. Okay. The one you use all the time, roughly, if you're looking at, say, the bank statement, how many pages of transactions do you have? If they say two, or they say 10, that's two very different things, right? It just gives me, I don't really care about the exact number of transactions they have. I just get an idea. And so, okay, they have two bank accounts, one credit card. I throw a number at them. It's that simple. I don't spend a lot of time trying to make it perfect. It's okay, whatever your base, if it's small, it sounds small, throw your minimum at them. If your minimum is 250 a month, say that sounds like it will be 250 a month for me. When I get into it and it's more than that, if it ends up being more than that, then I'll let you know. Um, that's as simple as I make it. I make it a very short conversation as far as the pricing, because you want to get them past that. You want to get them to a meet a meeting of the minds on that as quick as possible. Don't spend a lot of time on it. The whole goal is to get a potential client to become a client, and you don't want to spend a whole lot of time, you know, worrying about it's this much, sending them a detailed itemized invoice. It's simply, I keep it so easy for them. It's just, hey, it looks like it's gonna be $300 a month. And then I say, does that sound like something that'll work for you? And then they may say, oh, well, that's more than what I was thinking it would be. And then you might decide to come down a little bit, but probably I would, there's reasons not to do that. So keep it real simple. One thing that is very common, and I'm not the only one to have experienced this, is that people that like to barter on price are your most difficult clients. People that don't value your services, and people that want to, try to trim a little bit here and there, they will be your headache for sure.
This makes sense. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.